happening. Now, I'm going to say that over many years, I've been able to speak to a gentleman called Mike, who calls me. He's based in London, essentially, or London area, and he very often gives me really good little snippets of what he's discovered and what's been going on in his local area. And so I'm pleased to say that I finally managed to get him to agree that we could record a telephone conversation. This is a little segment from it. The full segment is about 20 minutes, and I hope to have that up on the website later today. But it's a very interesting comment, and in the full 20 minutes, he gives a lot of detail. So let's just have a listen to a little clip of what Mike from Slough had to say. What have you been observing over the last few days?
Well, Slough, where the borough of Slough it's being impacted by the ULEZ because it's not too far away from the zone, and the local MP in Slough, the Labour MP Tan Desi, has been saying quite a few things about it. He's obviously getting a lot of his constituents right to him, saying that they're going to be penalised for, you know, just going a few miles down the road out of Slough into the outer edges of the ULEZ. You know, I've seen quite a few things, you know, on the TV, protests, etc. And I think some commentators are trying to minimise and trivialise it as if it's not a big deal. But it will have a destabilising effect on a lot of people's lives, especially people who maybe can't afford to upgrade cars or go on public transport. People really can't see what's happening because Khan actually ordered all the hardware, i.e. the cameras and the technology, way before he put out the consultation. And when most people come back saying it wasn't a good idea, they weren't, you know, for it, he said, well, it's only a consultation and I'll take your views into consideration. But he'd already made up his mind what he was going to do. And the reason why I believe that he'd done that is because his connection with this global group called C40 cities, which he is now like the chair of this C40 cities. And he does his little, you know, globetrotting exercise, speaking at their events on a regular basis. And I think he's just trying to burnish his credentials as a sort of global thought leader.
Global thought leader. So Mike from Slough has really dug into what he sees going on, and he puts a lot of detail around his research, which comes out in the full 20 minutes. So I'm going to encourage our audience to look out for that. But let's follow through on a bit of it. Here is the man himself, Sadiq Khan. And what's the commentary? Cities are leading the way when it comes to tackling the climate emergency, and I'm delighted to be elected as global chair of C40 at this critical time for our planet. Who is elected in, Mike, is the question which I asked there.
Well, the other C40 participants. It's not a general election.
Of course. As leaders representing over 700 million people, we've elected ourselves to represent over 700 million people and a quarter of the global economy. Think of what this man is saying. We must convince national governments to unleash our potential. National targets cannot be met without our help, and we stand ready to accelerate action with their support. This is incredible. If you really think about what this man is saying, who elected him, and he's not in control of nations, he's in control of the world, is what he's really saying. Let's put a bit more up. So here's a bit more from C40 cities themselves. So we've got the casual picture, very Tony Blairish in my opinion, but it says that the elected leader of the C40 organisation, the chair, plays a key role in raising the bar on climate ambition around the world and advocating the role of cities. Now, the other bit that Mike alerted me to was the fact that as well as the glossy web page, you need to look at the company which has been set up in the background. Can only give you a snapshot of this, but very interesting when you have a look at who's involved, because the directors include people from England, the US and Denmark, obviously appointed straight into that position. Key question, which I'm not going to deal with today, but we're going to ask it: where does the funding come from? And where does all this C40 stuff lead? Well, big thank you to Johnny for sending me this, what I regard as a pretty unpleasant picture. This is Birmingham. In fact, the bull here is linked into Birmingham hosting blind and partially sighted athletes and games connected with that. But where can we follow this horrible logo through? Well, here's a draft of the Central Birmingham framework for 2040, our future city. You can have a look at the introduction there by Councillor Ian Ward, but we've got our golden decade. And what have we got? What I'm calling a Soviet plan driven by UN sustainable and climate goals. And this is just one of the interior pages where you can immediately see everything is being built on the back of the climate emergency. So that's in the top left.